Michael Jordan's legacy as one of the greatest basketball players of all time is still as strong as ever, even 2 decades after his last championship. Countless books, articles, and videos have been dedicated to the man, and his 6 rings and legendary status on the Dream Team are widely known. But there are also many lesser-known facts about MJ, and here are the top 10 things you might not know about him.
Parked up outside in a
One surprising fact is that at the age of 50, Jordan beat a second draft pick in a one-on-one basketball game. Jordan may have said that you may see me play the game at the age of 50, but few people expected him to actually win against someone half his age. Michael "Kid" Gilchrist, the young player in question, was regarded as one of the best defenders in his class, but even he couldn't defeat the incredible Michael Jordan. Another little-known fact is that while Jordan may not have been playing pro basketball anymore, he was still involved with a pro basketball team, the Charlotte Bobcats, now the Hornets. In 2012, Jordan drafted Michael "Kid" Gilchrist with the 2nd pick in the NBA draft, showing his continued passion for the sport. Jordan's greatness on the court is well known, but his skills as a GM are a different story. After the one-on-one game with Michael "Kid" Gilchrist, Jordan paid the price and could hardly walk the day after. Despite this, both Michaels confirmed the story, proving how great of a basketball player MJ still was at 50 and how bad of a GM he still is. While Jordan was a great basketball player, he was never a great three-point shooter. Most of his damage came from mid-range and attacking the basket, and even he was surprised when he scored 6 threes and a half during the 1992 finals. Jordan's worst three-point performance came during his first and only three-point shooting contest, in which he sank only 5 three-pointers, the lowest score in NBA history. MJ may have been straight as an arrow when he first entered the league, but he started drinking around the age of 27 to battle insomnia. A doctor prescribed him a couple of beers before sleep, and from that moment on, Jordan started drinking regularly, including before games. In fact, former hockey player Jeremy Roenick tells a story of playing 36 holes of golf with Jordan before a game in which MJ had bet that the Bulls would win by 20 and he would score over 40. Jordan had 10 beers and played golf all day before the game, but he still managed to score 44 points and lead the Bulls to a 24-point victory against Cleveland. Jordan's story is one of both greatness and flaws, but his impact on the game of basketball is undeniable. Even after all these years, he remains one of the most influential and fascinating figures in sports history. In the 1997 NBA Finals, the Chicago Bulls faced off against the Utah Jazz in Game 5, a critical match for both teams. Michael Jordan, the star player of the Bulls, woke up with flu-like symptoms the night before the game. He was noticeably unwell and was doubtful to even play. However, he decided to push through the illness and played anyway. Despite feeling sick, he scored an impressive 38 points, leading the Bulls to victory. After the game, Jordan was so exhausted that he had to be carried off the floor by Scottie Pippen. This game became known as the infamous flu game. There are many conspiracy theories surrounding the flu game. One of the most common theories is that Jordan's illness was actually caused by food poisoning. The story goes that Michael ordered a pizza from an unknown restaurant in Utah, and it's possible that a hardcore Jazz fan may have tampered with the pizza before it was delivered. Others believed that Jordan's illness may have been caused by his love for drinks and betting, suggesting that it could have been a case of alcohol poisoning and a subsequent hangover. Aside from his legendary basketball career, Michael Jordan's also known for his unique habit of sticking his tongue out during games. What many people don't know is that Jordan didn't actually originate this habit. He stole it from his father James, who used to stick his tongue out when fixing things around the house. This habit soon became a trademark for Michael, and he found it difficult to stop doing it, despite trying mouth guards and other techniques. Jordan's love for games and betting also got him into trouble during his playing career. He was famously competitive, and his competitiveness didn't stop at the basketball court. He wanted to beat people at everything, including ping pong, cards, and any other game imaginable. His love for gambling even led him to owe $1.2 million in gambling debts at one point, which was a significant amount of money at that time. The media was all over him, especially after the book Michael and Me, Our Gambling Addiction came out. In the book, Richard Esquinas claimed that Jordan owed him $1.2 million for a 4-year spread of golf games until finally settling down for a $300,000 payment. George Cooler and Michael Jordan's friendship started in 1984 when George was a limo driver in Chicago. George's first passenger on the job was none other than the 3rd pick in the NBA draft who had just arrived in Chicago for the first time. Soon, George became Jordan's personal driver, and if Jordan went anywhere, it was with George. As they spent more time together, George became one of Michael's best friends. Today, George is no longer driving a limo, but remains Michael's trusted confidant and consigliere. His phone is filled with numbers of famous people, probably more than Michael himself, because if you're lucky enough to get an MJ circle, he's still more than likely to shine your call. However, he's going to answer George's call, and that's why many famous people first called George if they wanted to reach Michael. In November 2001, 2 months after the biggest terrorist attack in modern history, Michael Jordan donated his entire Wizards salary to 9/11 victims. Jordan had just unretired for the 2nd time as a 38-year-old, and this time he would be playing in a Wizards uniform. Jordan was also the part owner of the team, and he was the least paid athlete on the team, with only $1 million salary. Given the circumstances of 9/11 and the terrible aftermath for all families that lost their loved ones, Jordan decided to donate his entire salary to the victims and their families. Playing for free truly shows how much he loved basketball and how generous he could be at times. During a Bulls practice in 1995, Jordan and Steve Kerr got into a scuffle that started when Phil Jackson called some ticky-tack fouls on Kerr. Jordan thought it was soft and counterproductive considering he's going to get fouled much harder in the playoffs. He wanted to express his feelings by example and fouled Kerr extra hard in the next possession. Steve Kerr was physically no match for Michael Jordan, but his fiery competitive side wouldn't let it slide. Steve showed Jordan, and Jordan lost his temper and punched him in the face. Phil kicked Jordan out of practice, and Steve Kerr had a pretty significant black eye from the event. Jordan later apologized, and he and Steve Kerr had a good relationship ever since. Jordan trusted people who stood up to him, and this fight was a predecessor to one of the greatest moments in NBA Finals history. In the 1997 Finals, Jordan trusted Steve Kerr with the final shot of the game, and Kerr flashed a game winner that would win the 5th championship for the Bulls. Jordan always looks at people's shoes the first time he sees them, and if they're not wearing Nikes, he disapproves and often confronts people about it. While he's a Nike lifer and his Air Jordans bring him over $100 million every year, Jordan wasn't exactly enamored with the swoosh brand at first. Nike was known as a track and field brand and was never considered to be successful at making basketball shoes. Jordan badly wanted to wear Adidas, but they couldn't get the shoe ready for the start of the season. Converse also rejected Jordan, saying that they already endorsed Magic and Bird. After his mother forced him to go to a meeting with Nike, they signed him for $2.5 million over 5 years, with the hope that they would sell $3 million worth of shoes during his deal. Jordan was such a phenomenon that they sold $126 million in the first year alone.